Hey guys, this song that's on, oh my god, it brings back memories when I used to model, my god, for a brief moment. 16 years old, walking the catwalk in Sydney. And I wanted to reach out today and say hello and share a little bit about a few things that I've been sharing in my private diva mind, my immersion, about really handling grief and how to really take care of yourself when there's a lot of emotion coming up, so that we can nourish, serve deeper, and hey Joan, and really contribute. There's a lot of grief and emotion coming up around what's happening in the US at the moment, with children being taken from their mothers. One of my students was really feeling it deeply. I think we're all feeling it. And I just was saying that it's so important to nourish, to take time for yourself, to really ground your energy, so that you can then move forward to contribute in a bigger way. When we're so upset, and it's fine to be upset, we can tend to sometimes get overwhelmed with the emotion, and it slows women down. It slows visionary women down from really serving. We go into this sense of almost like a crisis, and sometimes it's natural, it's normal, we're human beings and we have that emotion come up, but I do something that really helps me, and that is I use whatever I'm going through to serve even deeper. So I take the time when needed to just go within and reflect and rest and take time out, get my sand in the soil and ground my energy. Feel the feelings, move through whatever emotions coming up, the grief, the rage, the sorrow, the pain, and then I say take that pain and make it rain, serve deeper. So one of my students has tagged me here in a post, and she was really feeling it. I said, why don't you go and sell and serve and help other women, and then dedicate 20% of your sales to those non-for-profit organizations that are helping people deal with the trauma of losing children and things like that. So the reason that I teach so much about abundance consciousness and money, I talk a lot about money and making money, but at the end of the day, at the heart of it, it's really to empower primarily women to stand in their power, claim their financial abundance. And in order to claim financial abundance, it always comes from a personal deep ascension where we're owning our voices, standing in our power, taking up space, creating a stand so that we actually can bring global change to the world. Now, we do not do that from an impoverished state, right? We do not do that really from our brokenness. It's fine to be broken. I've been broken many times in my life. I've had many dark nights of the soul. But what has really helped me is learning how to hold space for my emotion, not feeling shameful for it, and then giving myself the space and the love that I need in order to really process, and then taking the lesson, the learning, and the heart and the love to serve. Is everyone hearing me here? Hey everyone, hey Tracy, hey Monique. And so there's been a lot of beautiful stuff happening lately also in my Diva Mind, in my group, and the women that I serve. It's awesome because I work with so many talented, amazing women. And I've created this really sacred space, but also a business process, a streamlined process that helps visionary entrepreneurs, whether you're male or women. I just market to women primarily. It works for either gender, to really step into your power energetically, physically, verbally, and then also financially to serve. And we've been having these most incredible transformations happening for women. It's just beautiful to see. I've got one student who's beautiful. She's got 5 kids. She's got a couple of foster kids, and she was struggling to really make money, and there she is. She did a $5,000 cash day just the other day. I've got other single mothers that I work with who are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I just had a new client sign with me. And the moment that she signed, someone just bought one of my tripwires of my meditation. That's so cool. I love it. So she signed with me maybe 4 days ago. Hey Brandy. And it's so beautiful to see. And she was a little bit wigged out. There was a lot of, she wasn't going to be able to afford it. And she's been watching me and following me for a long time. Very, very talented light worker. Anyway, she actually blew me off. She was like, I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And then she blew me off. And then something really interesting happened to me with her, which was all meant to be. And I was like, it's okay, all good, don't worry about it. It'll come when it's meant to come. Anyway, so I was on the way to Byron Bay with my family on the way to the beach in Australia, and I got this message, and I just happened to check my business page, and it was her partner. I won't sort of say who it is, too much information, because I don't want to give away who it is, but anyway, I don't think anyone would know. But anyway, so her partner reached out to me and said, oh my God, I'm driving, and my wife told me that she said that she won't work with you now. We've got all these expenses and all these other things happening, and we're selling our house and the whole story. Anyway, he messaged me and said, I got this full-on pain in my third eye. And I got this message like it was a big mistake not to work with you. Hey, Dave, to work with you, Ingrid. So can you reach out to her? I'm driving. I just needed to reach out to you, and I want to be safe. And I just wanted to say that we're going to tell her that I said yes, she can invest to work with you. So I'm like, cool. You know, I'm like, that's fine. That's great. Thank you for letting me know. Hey, gorgeous Dave. Anyway, so she put the deposit down. She didn't even pay me in full. And I just was like, I really just felt so much heart for this woman. I knew I could help her. So I just told her a few things to do via voice messenger once she put the deposit down. And she went and sold, I think, an extra about, I know that was like 2333 and then another 3333 paid in full. So I think by the time we did our first 1 hour session together privately, she'd sold an additional 7,000 pay in full. Then today she sold, we've restructured her entire business. She's giving up private coaching altogether, and we're restructuring, creating a new school for her. She'll be doing just a tiny bit more private for a few more months for additional cash flow to put into her funnel and her ads and things like that. And she just sold another two 10K packages. So I just feel so honored. My heart just expands. She does incredible work. She's got 2 young kids. This happens to me all the time. I feel so humbled to see like that, to have such an impact on someone's life, so that they can go and have such a deep impact in someone else's life. I know what it's like to struggle financially. I know what it's like to go into that freak out zone, and but for me, I think my ability is that, you know, and I didn't used to be the most grounded person or anything like that, but I'm incredibly strategic and very loving in my approach, but also very clear and aligned and quite fierce. And it's not fierce it's just like holding presence, because when someone is kind of like this, you know, they're not grounded in their vision, they're not grounded in their offerings, they're not grounded, right? And so it's like this, what I call like an energetic wobble effect, and it's incredibly difficult to attract new clients and build a foundation in a business when you're energetically all over the shop. So I kind of hold space, no judgment of that, been there. So I really hold space for that, and then I strategize the F out of the process. But to have someone to hold that space for you, so that you can like rise up, is, oh gosh, I love doing it. And it's fun. It's powerful. It's amazing. So guys, I don't know, I'm not trying to pitch anything today. I'm just talking about one thing. This is like, you can literally change so much in your life, financially, energetically. It's all interlinked anyway. It's emotional. It's literally, it's full on. It's vibrational. It's full on. I'm blown away by the like polarities, right? One minute we can be feeling like our whole world is falling apart, and the next minute we can just be rocking it. But for me, I just want to say that in the falling apart, usually the beauty rises up, right? When you feel like so broken, you're usually most ripe to rise, because you've got nothing else to lose, right? It's like you're either going to go down or you're going to rise up. That's where I was at quite a few years ago now, but I made the choice to rise. It doesn't mean that I don't have difficult things happen in my life now, but I was just saying over the last few days with all the different videos I've been doing in my training groups, in my free group, that it's become easier because I have this deeper level of truth and foundation and structure and confidence and self-love for myself. And, you know, when I remember when I went to do my first webinar, I wanted to vomit. You know, I literally, I think I almost did. I badly twisted my ankle. I was walking and it was like a self-sabotage fear thing. And I remember I kind of like saw the whole thing. I literally couldn't walk and I was in tears on the ground, and my husband was with me, and I had my very first webinar coming up. And I was petrified. But I thought, you know what? Look at what I'm doing. I thought, stuff it. No matter what, I am going to be on that webinar. I don't care if I'm in my glasses and my pajamas and I have to do this from my bed. I am going to do this. I'm going to get out there, and instead of thinking about myself and all my insecurities or all my fears or whatever, I'm going to rock this, and I'm going to focus on bringing my best self to the table and speaking my truth. And I'm going to do the best that I can. And I didn't even pitch on anything. I didn't pitch anything. I just taught. I just spoke from my heart. I mean, I had a PowerPoint. I was, you know, I gave it my best. I glammed myself up. I did it. Had my foot on a stool. And the following 10 or 12 days later, I sold 20 spots in my first, which was High-End Empire, which is one of my core programs now. And I sold those, I think they were $3,500, the spots. It wasn't a cheap program, but we delivered big time. I think I taught, it was like a 90-day program. I ended up teaching for 6 months. And oh yeah, Brandy, yeah, I've now literally done $500,000 in sales from webinars in 3 weeks. Like, it's incredible the transformation that I've gone on. There's a strategy around it all. There's a lot involved to do it the proper way. But the biggest thing though is the proper way. It's just to start. Like, I had to start, right? And then you learn and you learn and you become more confident and more proficient. And now, like, we have automated funnels that we're setting up with webinars, and that's a whole new level for us now, doing that, because we always used to do them live. So now we're automating our funnels and our webinars, and then I'll be doing others live with different offers. So I'll be having my automated funnel running, which sells one of my digital products, and then we have the bigger ticket products. I'm going to do them live probably for about 2 months straight. Actually, I'm going to do one a week. That's going to be an interesting journey, but I find them really fun now. Like, I know the lay of the law of the land, or the lay of the land, the lay of the energy. I know what works. And it's really more about, I always have done things sort of from my heart and from my own gut instinct. And you can learn all the structure and the strategies from so many of the big players online. But for me, what's missing with a lot of the way I teach webinar monetization on webinars and all the whole thing, from Facebook ads and messaging and the whole thing. But I noticed what was missing with a lot of these, a lot of the women too, but a lot of the men, and also there's one woman who teaches webinars as well, and I bought her product actually. I think I only watched the webinar, but I never watched her training. Is sort of the emotional messaging aspect of the psychology around selling, but also what I call the currency of connection. So I tend to sell quite a decent amount of volume. I get a very good return on my ad spend as well. And the heart of all of that is really this deep level of connection that I'm able to have and create with my audience. And that it is an art. It does take practice, because it's really about having intimacy with people that you don't know. It's releasing that fear of being judged, so that you can just show up and really be your authentic self. Really, it's not brain science, but there is a level of real depth that needs to come through, and that usually has to come from, it's a practice. It's fun, allowing yourself to be strong and vulnerable and be seen. There's lots of different elements to it. So guys, that's all I wanted to share today. I'm sending you so much love. If you're feeling pulled to do a webinar, do it. Learn, do it. You learn so much from doing it. If you do want any support with it, just message me privately and I'll give you some support. I'll tell you what you can do. But at the end of the day, don't expect to make, you want to run traffic really at the end of the day. I mean, you can start with just your organic reach, but you're going to want to run traffic. I have grown my business incredibly quickly through running Facebook ads, for sure. But in order to make sure that you don't just burn money, you actually grow your money and grow your investment, you have got to get it on point. Absolutely. I think I've spent probably a couple of $100,000 in ads, so I think I might know a little bit about what I'm doing there, and I've gotten an incredible return from that. If your message is not on point and you really don't understand how to connect with your audience deeply, you're going to be throwing money down the toilet. Absolutely. So my advice to really making sure that you rock it online with ads and webinars is you got to have your offers down, and you got to know how to sell, because at the end of the day you are selling and you do need to know how to sell, and to do it from a place of service, not from a place of shame. Otherwise, I've got clients who've done like $100,000 on webinars when they're really in their power and really claiming it. When they pull back and they're energetically not really aligned, the sales don't come. Obviously, when you do a webinar, it's just not the webinar. Hey, gorgeous ones, it's all the emails. Hey, beautiful girls. It's everything that you're doing to follow up. Like even when I did my first webinar and I didn't even pitch, I did make sales. I think it was I sold 20 units of a $3,500 product. It was because I did all the follow-up live streams. I don't stop. I've obviously got a free group. I'm guiding people to that group. I'm creating a community where I keep speaking and connecting to my audience. I think when you start to get bigger and you're getting busy, like I don't want to do as much of that, because when I do a webinar and I do it well, one of my last webinars that I did, this happened by fluke. You never know how it's going to go. You can do everything perfectly. You can think that you're on the money, you've shown up, but sometimes it doesn't. You've got to also be patient, because until that cart closes, hey Morgan, you don't know how well you've really done. And people will wait to the last minute, right? People will wait to the last minute to buy. But, like my email sequencing, my disappearing bonuses, everything is incredibly planned out. If you really want to make your hundreds and thousands of dollars per webinar, it is like it's a machine. And don't get thrown off. You don't have to start that way, just start. And I got more and more proficient and more skilled and more organized as I went along. But the last webinars that we did do, and then I'm going to run into this shop and get my daughter a Beanie Baby. We had people buying the product before I started pitching the product, which was really, I thought was pretty great. I was pretty happy with that. So that was a beautiful thing for me, because it's like people wanted just the sort of energy of what I was talking about, and I was talking about the process, and I gave a lot of value. You don't want to overwhelm people with too much. You have to really simplify your content, otherwise you'll be there for 3 hours. I've done all of that as well. But people started buying the product before I started pitching anything, and that was a really beautiful thing to see. Very exciting for me on many levels, because I'm so passionate about my work and what it can do to help people. But obviously when you're spending money on ads, you want to make sure that you're getting a return. Otherwise, you can go out of business if you're spending a lot of money on ads and you don't really have like endless and buckets of cash just piled up there, or a trust fund. You want to make sure it's all working for you and you're getting that investment. So Brandy said, there's just for me to start and learn and just get one done. Yeah, absolutely, Brandy, do it. And then if you do want to really make sure that you go to that next level, if you can get some support, get support. I think often there's a lot that we don't know, right? And we don't know that we don't know it. So it's a little bit, without speaking in a negative way, just have a bit of a giggle about all of us that we do this. There's a little bit sometimes of what you call unconscious incompetence. So it's like you're not aware of what you don't know, right? So it's great to start, beautiful, awesome. You're literally head and shoulders above the average person, because you're actually doing it, because most people don't ever do it. They talk about it, they complain, they stay stuck in fear, and they don't do it. So celebrate it, awesome. All you need to do is make 1 sale, 2 sales, especially if you're selling a higher ticket offer, which I absolutely, of course, suggest that you sell higher ticket, because you're going to get a better return. You don't need to sell so much volume. If you're selling a $5,000 offer and you sell 5 spots, you've made 25K. You can go and do another one and do another one and go from there, right? So you might even do a 10K offer on a webinar and sell 3 of those, and you've already made 30K, right? If you're selling really a lower ticket offer, you need to have significant volume to make profit. You just have to have serious volume. I've only gone into my lower ticket offers now as a business strategy for me, and that lower ticket offer is still $2,500. I do have a membership that I'm starting at $97 a month, but I've only started going into that realm of business strategy now that I have, a significant list and I have capital to pump into ads. Like, I can easily spend 20 grand a month or so on ads. That might not be, there's someone here who manages a lot of ad dollars who's watching me. Hey, gorgeous Jody. So she might be probably dealing with people who are spending 100 grand on ads a month. But I'd like to get there soon. But we can spend, some good chunk of change on ads, because we know that usually it will convert and I'll get a return. But if you don't have capital like that, that's fine. So that's why you want to start higher ticket, so you have that cash. That's why when I work with people, we're not all so focused in this higher end, but most people come to me with not a lot of capital and they need to get cash in the door. And so that's why I suggest high ticket at the beginning, get some cash going, then you can pump it in your ads, pump it into a proper a really great funnel. When I started, I had 10 grand. I spent 10 grand on ads, and then I booked 60 sales calls through a really simple funnel. It wasn't so simple. It was an 8-part video series, but it was just gave lots of content, nurtured my leads, got people on calls, and then I had 3 different tiers of my mastermind at that point, and I sold 17 spots. And it wasn't like huge, but I had that consistent cash flow and I was up and going, and I definitely got a pretty great return. I think about 10 times plus return on that $10,000 ad spend. But as I said at the beginning of this video, if you don't have your message on point and your whole structure and your strategy in terms of the price point of your offer in play and really on the money, so to speak, you're going to potentially be throwing that money down the tube, and you probably, many of us can't afford to do that. I know I couldn't afford to do that at the beginning, right? You don't want to lose cash. So if you can invest in getting some support, proper support that really is both strategic but also really tapped in and dialed in terms of your marketing piece, your messaging piece, your energetic disposition about how you present. I've had clients do $600,000 in 5 months, fill masterminds and things like that, and I can sure as shiz tell you that they are bringing their A game. They're not holding back. They're not playing it the quiet little mouse. They are fully in their energetic presence. I call it resonance for riches. They are owning. They got their message dialed in. People are not confused about what they're doing and what the outcome is of their offer. It's like down the line, clear. Okay guys, I'm gonna go and buy Beanie Babies because I promised my daughter and her friend that I'd get them new Beanie Babies. Have a beautiful day. I hope I've been of service, and yeah, if you're feeling the grief or the emotion about what's happening at the moment, I'm sending you so much love. I think we're all affected by it, and let's just keep rising up, doing our work so that we can actually contribute from a place of overflow. Donate capital if we want to, where it becomes easy for us to donate capital. If you want to donate capital, if you want to do scholarships for your programs because you're doing it from a sense of overflow because you've got enough to cover your own self, then that's what we should be doing. I think it's wonderful to be able to give back in that way, but I think doing it also at the right time. And I think one of the best ways that we can deeply serve as human beings is to ensure that we're full, and when we're full we are stronger, and when we are stronger we can support more, right? We're not going to be doing it from an impoverished place emotionally, energetically, or financially. Women need to rise in more power so that we can, really claim more political and social power to create the change that needs to happen on this planet. So start with you. Start with filling up you. Okay? Sending you so much love. Bye.